On today's episode, which is the season opener, episode 1 for season 6, we are talking about the 8 proven ways. That's right, we have 8 of them. The 8 proven ways to make your running routine and really any fitness routine last beyond January. So Coach Nick and I go back and forth on the different ways from mapping out a framework, your routine in your week, to setting goals based on your current life, not your best case life. We also dive into the little things that you can do day to day to make these goals feel almost easy. And we will finish the episode with a surprise where you'll learn a little bit more about your new co-hosts, which was very exciting. And no, really, it was a surprise to at least one of us.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised because that was my surprise. But and thanks everyone for tuning back in to season 6. You know, if you're ever looking for a running coach or training plans or coaching consults, you can find everything at runningexplained.com. You can follow us on Instagram and our YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And lastly, if you're listening and you like what you hear, give those 5-star reviews. It definitely helps us. So thanks and enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Running Explained podcast, your go-to resource for learning the how, what, and why of running so you can train smarter, race stronger, and actually enjoy the process with a more human approach. And we're your hosts, Coach Amanda Katz
and Coach Nick Klastava. Welcome, everyone. And today's topic, we're going to talk about 8 proven ways to make your running routine last past January, not just, for January. And so I think it's going to be a fun topic, right, Amanda? What are you thinking?
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that we are, at the time that this episode goes live, we're going to be at the end of January. Can you believe?
I can't. Where'd the month go?
I mean, to be fair, it's been 5 weeks. This January is it's a tall girl, January.
She is, but we're going to survive. We're going to move forth, and we're going to carry some of these ways with us forward. But I think the more important part is, we did our little teaser episode in December for all of you, and now we're here and we're officially doing it. So, why don't we talk a tiny bit about, ourselves and get ready for this new season 6 of the Running Explained podcast. And Amanda, I know you love talking about yourself. So do you want to go first?
Folks who have not listened to our previous chapter, the Between Two Coaches podcast, Nick is lying. He's lying. I don't like to talk about myself. So I will make this 12 seconds in total. We're so happy to be here. And everything is going great here. It is real feel 6 degrees in New York City. You may hear, no, not you may, you definitively will hear in these weekly recordings the sounds of New York City. Everything from ambulances driving by to, some low voices, maybe committing petty crimes in the backgrounds. It's all a part of the experience, the human approach to coaching. So I'm doing well. I'm cold, but you know what? I'm happy to be here. How are you doing, Nick?
Doing quite fabulous. It is also cold here. We're recording this on the 20th. So if you're wondering what weather we're talking about, it is that day's weather. We're supposed to get a ton of snow this weekend or no snow. So the typical reporting of weather, anywhere between 0 and 30 inches. So that's lovely. I'm excited to be here. This is super fun. We love this. We love talking about coaching and running and the training experience. So this topic's going to be fun. And I think everything else is growing great. New year, same me. We don't change around here. We just keep the calendar moving. So otherwise, I'm ready and excited.
Good. Okay, very good. And today's episode is we have a ton of guests lined up for season 6. We're very excited about it. But today it's just, as the song says, the two of us. And so we're going to dive right into the topic for today, which Coach Nick and I are going to alternate on the different, we can make your running, all of us together, your running routine last beyond this month and into the year. So Coach Nick, do you want me to go first?
I do. I love when you go
do.
first. Yeah.
You do. Okay, so my first way, so did not share these with Coach Nick before. My first way would be to map out a routine first, right? Get the framework and don't rely on motivation to be the framework. So when I say that, I mean, when you're looking realistically at your, let's say, your week, and if you're not plotting your plan down and you're relying on your desire to execute this mythical plan, it's going to be really challenging for you to get out the door. And we're talking about colder weather and temperatures here, at least on the East Coast and throughout the country, or wherever you're listening to, where you're experiencing potentially winter weather. We definitely can't rely on motivation to get us out. So building some structure in your week is so important.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think, little things you like, little structure, right? Lay out your clothes the night before, right? Like that's like such a easy win that like you'll look at your clothes and you'll be like, oh, I already did all this work. Why don't I just do the run? Or why don't I just, get out there? Like putting some effort into to sort of have this routine figured out ahead of time versus, oh, I'll just be motivated every day. Motivation lasts for a bit. And then it's the habits and things you create that are sort of giving that framework for the future to you, sort of to help you kind of get that thing that you're wanting to do going, right?
Yeah, I just had a conversation with one of my athletes. She is preparing for a treadmill long run this weekend, and we love the treadmill in this house. So a couple of the ways that we're making sure that she stays motivated on the treadmill: the night before, she's going to lay out her clothing, like Nick said. She's going to make sure that she has one kid and she's ready for kid number 2. She just learned that she's pregnant, so we're very excited for her.
Exciting.
So she's also going to prepare her breakfast the night before. Make sure that she doesn't have to think about all of that. She's going to lay out her fueling. So she's going to have her gels ready and in the fridge, her hydration. So we're planning all of that on Friday, preparing for Saturday. And since doing long runs on the treadmill is fairly new to her, I suggested, why don't you, because she has some favorite podcasts that she listens to, I said, why don't you see if they have a YouTube presence?
Yeah, like us.
Like us, right? Like us. So she's actually going to make sure that she has all of that prepared on Friday. That way, when she wakes up on Saturday for her run, you want to make it as mindless as possible. She's just gonna have her breakfast. She's gonna get dressed. She's gonna do her warm up, and she's gonna get going.
Yeah, that's great. And when she finishes our podcast, she could listen to Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. It's a great movie to queue up. It's their 25th anniversary, so 9 hours of movies. You can get through a couple long runs.
9 hours.
3 movies. Well, it's maybe 10 actually. I didn't add it up yet, but
where I need to ask you offline, or can I ask you here?
Yes.
Where are we accessing Lord of the Rings? I must subscribe to this streaming service.
Yes. So, well, you don't have to right now because it's their 25th anniversary. It is in theaters. So you could go over to theaters.
Oh, no.
I think you could still watch 12 hours of movies with your best friends.
Wait, it's really in theaters for this. Wow.
They re-released it. It's the best. I know we have a giant audience of runners / Lord of the Rings fans. So I don't know that, but
it's possible.
It could be.
It is possible. I find that so not to get we're trying to stay on task today. That's one of
Yeah.
that's a goal that I have in 2026. But I am finding that at least in my book talk, because I am an avid reader. If you
Yep.
don't know now, you know. A lot of my followers they have that genre as a top genre, like
Yeah.
the Fourth Wing, Harry Potter.
Ooh, love Harry Potter.
Yep, that sort of. I'm not the one, but any. I love someone who loves to read. I love reading. I love someone who has a passion for a specific genre of
Ooh.
media. So if you're a Lord of the Rings girly guy creature,
Yep.
go to the theaters.
And if you want to see Amanda do a book club for Lord of the Rings, just
I don't
reply
have.
back and she will absolutely commit
Yep,
with me to do
definitely
it.
don't have the time for it.
Yeah. So.
Ever. All right, it's your turn,
Oh,
Coach
it's my
Nick.
turn.
What's one of your proven ways?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear, Amanda. I'm playing a little sick today. A little tickle in my throat, a little man cold. So I'm fighting through this for us. But if you notice my voice a little raspy, that's why. So I just wanted to get that out there so that people aren't worried. One of the things I think is you can focus on small things you can do daily, like tiny changes, right? And so I think one of the things people try to do the most in January as they carry things forward is start real big. Bite off with something real big. I'm going to run every day. I'm going to run 60 minutes a day or exercise 60 minutes a day. And I think sometimes you bite off more than you can chew by creating a really big type of routine or habit you're trying to keep. And I think it's more important to begin at levels that almost feel too easy. Like, I'm going to do 10 minutes of lifting 3 times a week. Like, that feels like so easy, but like, get some wins, get some small wins, build some momentum. You can always add more later. But when you start with, I'm going to exercise every day in some form for an hour, there's no, like, you can't go back. You've already set this habit and now you're going to be disappointed. You're going to kill the momentum when you don't do it. And you've already started it so high that like everything feels like, you're sort of going backwards. So it's very important to start small. I know it can feel like, oh, that's not really that big of a deal. Sure. But as you compound that for months and months, and all of a sudden you add to it, that becomes something it's easy to carry all the way with you forward.
Agreed. I think that what's most important is that whatever you're doing, that was the perfect way to piggyback off of my way, is that you have to be specific. So you mentioned 10 minutes of strength training 3 times a week. Perfect. That's measured, that's specific. You could do 2 lifts in that time. That's incredible. And that is a step up from not doing any strength training at all.
Yeah. I mean, you could go to one of Amanda's spin classes and just walk out after 10 minutes and you've hit sort of your quota.
You're not going to, no, I can't be the one to do that. That's not going to be me. Pick another spin instructor. Yes. Small habits.
Big wins.
Small habits, big wins. Big dub.
Yeah.
Big dub. I think that the next way that makes sense, and it's also the next way on my list, is you want to set goals based on your current life, not your best case life. So what does that mean? Okay, well, when I look at my week, I know that I have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday where I have the most amount of time to exercise, eat something, shower, and be ready for work. So instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to work out 5 days a week, knowing that really that is the best case scenario and you don't even have that time, why would you set yourself up for that? Okay, so we don't cut corners, right? So notice how I mentioned all of the habits around the core habit. If the goal is to work out, right? You need to make sure that you've slept well for this, you are fueled well for this, and you have the capacity to do other things in your life that you must do, like work, like take care of your kid, that sort of thing. So we want to similarly, in the same way that if you're working with Nick, myself, any of the coaches on the Running Explain team, we're setting goals for whatever race you are preparing for, but we're not setting them based on future fitness, right? We are looking at who you are right now and how we can build on that foundation.
It's so well said. I agree. I think, too often we get caught up in, well, what do I want my goals to look like based on the best case scenario, or like ignoring our circumstances, or just hopping on social media and seeing people who live different lives than us, because we all live different lives, and assuming we all have the same 24 hours, right? So I'm going to set my goals based on what I see or what other people are doing because they're having success. And that's not how it works. And also, we set goals for the future, like, maybe long-term goals on PRs or other things. And we always forget that we can still work our way towards that. It doesn't mean like if I have a race in June that, I got to run 6 days a week in January, I could start at 3. And as things get better and as I stack, I could get up to 4. And then if I want to get to 5 and that's where I end up, like over time, that's great. But we don't have to like immediately, if our life is harder or things are going on or reasons, like just jump into these bigger things. Like plan out, but also exist in our life in its current state. And that's perfect. And that's how you sort of keep this momentum going. Like you said, instead of, I'll just figure it out in those other days when I definitely don't have the time. Like, why? Like, start where you can and build.
And then you let yourself down when you do that. Like, it is inevitable that if you, like we started this episode, biting off more than you can chew, why do that to yourself? I also am not I'm not big on like setting resolutions for like that far out, like the long term. Like, why don't you let's just start with, if you're listening to this now, let's look at February. There are 4 beautiful, even weeks in February. What can you commit to for those 4 weeks? I can commit to getting in 3 runs a week and 2 strength training sessions. Does not matter the amount of time. I just got to lift 2 times a week, whatever it is, right? Like, that's gotta be the way that you look at things, so that you can give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself the high five you deserve, maybe even put something on February 28th to look forward to, like, I'm taking myself out on a hot girl dinner, okay? Because I really worked hard this month and stayed consistent.
Yeah, I had to look while you're talking to see if it was a leap year because I don't understand the rules on leap years.
So my birthday is always February 28th, so I always know when.
Oh, I'll just text you anytime I wonder if it's a leap year.
No, you don't have to do that. You could you could pull up your calendar.
All right. Well, it'd be easier to text you, but fine.
I know.
So it's not a leap year for everyone wondering at home.
It's not. Like it's not.
But you still, like Amanda said, you had 4 perfect weeks in February. And start there. February is the big month next. So that's what we're shooting for. Don't worry about the rest of the year. And if you do set goals, forget them. Just let them go. Like, you set a goal for next year and just let it go. It's a goal, but you don't have to worry about it. We have to write it up on our wall and stare at it every day. I digress. Yeah.
I noticed that this year, this is a sidebar. Okay, I know we're supposed to stay on task, but it's kind of on task.
Yeah.
Have you noticed this year, has your algorithm been graced with a lot of vision boarding?
Oh, it's big this year. The vision board is back.
What's happening, y'all? What are you?
We're I don't know.
What are your thoughts on? I don't want to shame anyone for their vision boarding, but what is the intention here? What's going on? How do you feel about the vision boarding, Nick?
I've never vision boarded much, or
in my life.
I guess collage boarded is like a form of vision boarding, like cut things out and put it in there. I think it's, it's a fun idea. If I
Yes.
wanted to hang out with my friends
Right.
and we didn't want to go to a bar and we just wanted to hang out, we would grab some magazines and make a collage of our vision.
You're saying
I
hypothetically, you've never done this.
I mean, hypothetically, I don't have any friends, so I
Okay,
don't have
got
anyone
it.
to
Yeah,
ask.
no, I know. You're looking at her.
Yeah, so like this isn't a real life story, but like I would do that if I ever had any friends. Hypothetically. That said, I think like there's different levels for me. It's like one thing like, hey, these are things that I feel like could exist in my year. I think that's fun to like, oh, like I definitely want to do trail running, and like that's a fun little vision for the year, kind of like thoughts for the year. Like it's different than it's like, okay, I want to run 40 minutes off my PR. I'm going to write this number on my wall and carry it around with me and like carve it into my mirror, whatever else. And it's like, okay, well, that's like, I don't think that's the motivation that you think it is. And it's sort of just this thing hanging over you. And like the motivation you need to achieve that goal will come from literally everything we're talking about today, not because you stare at your mirror and you see, I'm just going to use a round number 259, 59 or 59. You'll get the motivation from doing the work. You don't need this thing like in your face all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that what we're seeing with it's the same. It's giving the same energy as collecting medals to just post. Like, are you performing for social media, or are you doing this because it's for you, right? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at anytime, because I want, if you are vision boarding or manifesting, have at it. But as we say in the rooms, faith without work is dead, right? We got to work. And that's what we are, through a little big book at you, for those who know. And so you got to work. But if you're listening to this podcast, you already know, you already work. Don't allow the vision boarding and other people listening there. Don't allow it to feed into your comparison trap. Okay. Eyes on your own finish line. And that's what we're helping you figure out today.
Yep. Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose, right? That's how the phrasing goes? I don't know. I might have got it wrong.
Know that one.
Oh, it's Friday Night Lights.
I know. I'm just not with the kids. So
yeah.
I can't quote like,
oh, it's all I do.
Very few movies and that I can quote.
The Simpsons. I could still quote like 20 years episodes from The Simpsons all the time. It's just,
I think I've watched one episode of The Simpsons.
I haven't watched it in 15 years. I'll just be quoting like season 10, which was like 2001.
Just say it.
Anyway,
okay,
we're off the rails, but we're good.
Yep.
It's my turn.
Yep.
My number 2. Here's a big one. It's called stacking habits. And I think what's important is that you take something that you're already doing and you attach running to it, or you attach your goal to it, right? So for me, when I used to go to the office every day, we had, I'll call mandatory lunch, because you had to work 8.5 hours. So if you ate lunch or didn't, it didn't matter. So I called it mandatory lunch. So I decided at some point, well, I have to take a lunch break, so I'm going to go run. And I would, like for me, it was stacking a habit, which was like this, going to work and being in the office and having this thing I had to do every day. And I would just get my clothes on and go out and run around the base and whatever I needed to fit in my run. And so it helped me kind of get out the door every day, because I had to do a lunch, stressed from work. I had this opportunity here sort of built in to have exercise. We eventually got exercise time, which was like a whole nother amazing thing.
Oh, wow.
This was pre 2025. Who knows what exists anymore? But
out the window.
I really enjoyed having that ability to sort of be at my job and then have this ability to stack a habit to it. And everyone doesn't have that, I'm sure. I mean, it's very rare. Probably people have like fitness time built in or ability to do it. So this is my example. But there's plenty of ways to like attaching this. Like it could be, before I go home every day, I'm going to bring my clothes. And as soon as my day's over, I'm going to drive right to the gym. Mm-hmm. Like that's another easy one. Because once you get home, the ability to kind of keep this habit going sort of flies out the window. If you have kids, you see them, you're in your warm house in the winter, like all these reasons kind of help it kind of go away. So instead of like maybe even making sure your gym's on your ride home, so you have to drive by it and you're like, oh, well, I'm already here, I'll just get out and go in, right? The little things to kind of stack something you're already doing and attach this habit, fitness, running, lifting, whatever it is, to it, sort of makes it a lot easier than as like trying to fit its place into your life, in a silo by itself. Like, oh, I'll just add it in here. Every morning I'll get up at 5. When you're like someone who gets up, for me, I get up late, right? I'm not a morning, about 4 or 5 a.m. morning run, unless I have a friend who's like willing to wait for me outside my house. That's probably not happening. So for me to be like, I'll just add it in there was never going to be the answer. I'd probably just never run. But finding places in my day that made more sense, that I could stack it on other things, was the solution for me. And that's how I kept this thing going all these years.
Yeah, I do the same thing, and I suggest the same thing. We, when we're working with our athletes, we notice patterns, right? Patterns in behavior. And if I see that, if I'm doing weekly check-ins and I'm noticing a pattern, like every week on Wednesday, that run that she's supposed to be doing is not happening. What's happening on Wednesday? That's an early day in the office. And so because it's an early day in the office, it's the only time to run would be, on the treadmill before she goes in or right after. So the way that we stack habits is we realistically look at our schedule. Okay, should we, assess? Can I run? Is there an easier day for me to get this run in? No? Okay. So then the two options are, outside of not running, of course, the two options are you go to bed early Tuesday night and prepare yourself to get up for Wednesday's run, or Tuesday night, you pack that gym bag. And like Coach Nick said, as soon as you are done with your workday, you are driving to the gym. It's a non-negotiable. And I think that we, even as adults, like we make, I'm not a parent, but from what I've seen and from being a TT who has, I negotiated my way into supporting my niece and my nephew, negotiated with them in eating more vegetables, in reading more books, in doing more math problems and what have you, right? You have to negotiate with yourself, but you want to make the negotiation as limited as possible. You don't want to, because you can very easily convince yourself week after week when you don't stack the habit, yeah, I'm just not, it's easier. The easier thing to do is to not do this exercise or whatever. And yet the reason why you're doing it is because you feel better when you do. So let that be the other voice on your shoulder. You know what? I know that I am going to feel better, and I know that I'm a better mom, I'm a better dad, I'm a better sister, I'm a better boyfriend, whatever you are. I'm a better me, I'm a better friend, I'm a better marathoner, I'm a better person when I do this. So let's just sneak it in. The other thing that I do personally, and those of you who take class with me locally know this already, or who work with me, is all of my work, and this includes then my personal fitness routine, is all front loaded in my day. There are no like real gaps, and that's why I don't work after 1:30 p.m. The reason is because my motivation, I can't rely on my motivation to do any work in the evening unnecessarily. Do things come up where I'll have to bend on that? Of course they do. Life happens, right? We're flexible. That's my next.
Ooh, you're teasing
Oh,
it.
wait, no, it's not the next one, but it's the almost next one. A teaser. I know myself. I will negotiate my way out of that, right? So front loading the day for me is a way to habit stack. I loved that proven way.
Yeah, that's great. I struggle. My biggest struggle is like little gaps of time. Like I'll have a meeting at 10 and it'll end at 11. Then I have like a 11:30 call. And I'm like, no, because now I'll do nothing for 30 minutes because I'm like, oh, if I start this thing, I won't get it done. And my ADHD brain requires me to finish it, which is like a whole problem. So like stacking things back to back in the morning would be ideal for me. It'd be great to get everything done, have everything lined up, and then I can like have like creative time or just think or just relax. So I think it's a great idea is to kind of like how to figure out how to fit that stuff in and kind of stack it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And it works for me. And I also wanted to, I'm going to reframe what you said earlier because I hear this a lot. You said, I'm not a morning person. No one is a morning person. We make ourselves morning people. I don't think anyone really wants to be up at 5 a.m. But you know what? I've the habit got put on the schedule and we stuck it out. And next thing you know, a decade later, I'm a morning person.
I guess that's a good way of looking. I mean, I don't want to be, but if I had to, I guess I could make it work. But I prefer to be a night person.
Well, look, if it ain't broke, right? But I'm just sharing for those of you who identify very strongly with, well, I don't know how you do it. I'm not a morning person. You could be.
Yeah, it's true. We don't want the morning people coming for me.
I almost did.
Don't come at me, guys.
I almost took these.
I love morning people. I just don't want to be one.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I heard you loud and clear. All right. So anyway, moving on to my next proven way, focus on consistency over the number on the clock, the weight on the scale, the performance, the metric. Focus on consistency. I think that we have grown way, way, way too comfortable with measuring our achievements, our success, our health in ways that aren't actually health promoting, in real ways that keep us in our sport of choice for life. And so anytime we start a habit, the best way to stick to the habit is by making sure that we are our own best friend throughout it. So if you don't have a coach in your corner, right, to be your best friend, to be your hype person, to hold you accountable, right, this is especially important. I find that when we set these goals related to performance, you mentioned like the 4-hour marathon, or maybe it's the 5-hour marathon. Maybe it's just running, right? No race on the calendar at all. Putting a metric in front of you when you haven't really laid the foundation, the base, the consistency, the looking at the 4 weeks in February saying, I'm so proud of myself. I ran 3 times a week for those 4 weeks in February. Versus I want to run a 10K every week in February in an hour. Like, you're not there yet, babe. Yeah. And why? Yeah. So that's kind of like, and it's not all or nothing. And so I'm kind of giving that as an example. It's not all or nothing. But really, even when you're in your journey, you're far along in your journey of running or whatever fitness endeavor, I still think that this is a proven way. It works I know for myself and Nick, who have been in the game for a long time. Nick even longer.
Old. Yeah.
Because Nick is old.
Like dirt.
Yeah. Dirt. Yeah. So consistency over performance.
Yeah, I agree. For me, a lot of this, I live this sport many different ways, and I was at my best when performance wasn't sort of driving everything, like times on a clock. And even now, like most of my athletes don't even know my PRs. They're not in my bio on Instagram like everyone else's. I don't. You'd have to Google to find out what I am.
Yeah,
You might
well,
find it on the website.
there's that.
So like
That's
I'm not here.
problematic.
Yeah, I mean, I ran sometimes. That's awesome, but like this isn't like my what I want to sell and what I want people to feel comfortable with is like, how to not focus on just the performance, just the time metrics and the consistency. One of the episodes I've done previously on this podcast is about, falling away from the numbers, not relying on the numbers. I think it's so important. I think it's gets in the way of so much, validates your worth. People feel if they're not a certain number. And like it doesn't need to be that way. Like consistency, if you're enjoying the sport, if you're showing up in the way you want, if you're having the results you see fit, that's all that matters. Like we don't have to kind of hold this performance metrics as the driving factor of our consistency or if things are working. Like that's not always the case anyway. And it sucks the joy out of the sport.
Amen. Amen. If you are leading from a place of joy, it's cannot do not partake in any behaviors or in any getting into any thought patterns that are taking away from that. And not every season of the year, that's the other thing about setting goals for the year and setting up habits, is you may find that this year is just not about performance for you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you're sitting on the couch every day. That's not it at all. They don't run, they're not opposites, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a big year for runners. This year is going to be on the mindset stuff. I really feel like it's been neglected last couple of years where the general state of social media was always work harder, get more results, grind more, do this secret workout that gives you 12% VO2 max.
Put your head down.
Like, like all this other super berries that make you more fit, like whatever it is, like it's always been kind of around this idea of, how to get faster only physically or, other way, like, but not like, oh, how mentally am I showing up in my sport? And I think the tricky part to that is for a lot of runners early on, the mindset isn't always a limiting factor, right? You just start something, you do some training, you get some general results, you get some PRs because you're new at it, and things kind of flow naturally. And then you think, oh, I'm being consistent, I'm getting results, this is working. But we all hit that barrier at some point in our lives. And it's always in a different spot. Sometimes people hit a barrier at 3 hours. Sometimes people hit our 3.5 at 3:19:27, whatever it is. Like we hit these barriers and physically we have to overcome it by doing tons more work. And that's when the mental side comes in and like, how are we reacting? Because it used to be so easy. I used to just show up, do 16 weeks of training, get a PR. And so this mental side, I feel like as runners have been in the sport for years, kind of now almost acknowledge, oh yeah, there's a lot of work for me to do on this other side. This belief in myself that I don't have, that was only there because I was doing all this running and all these miles. Like that's not working anymore because I'm not getting a PR every time. And so I think this is going to be a big year really to lean into how do we help runners, all of us, kind of see this mental side for people who've been in the sport a long time, have lived these mental barriers a lot. Like it is so important. And I think it's going to be a big year to kind of lean into that.
I agree. I think that's going to be trending in 2026 is going for the mental performance coaching mindset shift sort of thing. We were chatting with a mental performance coach we've had between two coaches and as well as the Running Explained podcast. I believe there's been sports psychologists on, and I just think it's so important because it feeds into everything else in your life. What is your next proven way, Nick?
Oh, my next way is, it's sort of similar to yours, but it's set process goals, not outcome goals. And it's kind of this idea of consistency comes from repeatable behaviors, and process changes, not distance results, right? Not distant results. So like kind of like your results and routine will happen as long as you keep it small process actions you can control. And like, those are kind of the ways to really kind of focus on what you can do to get your outcome versus your outcome, right? It's very easy to say, okay, I want to run this time, or I want to run a marathon. Okay, well, sure. What are the process things you're going to do to help assist you along the way? And like having an understanding of what they are. Is it going to bed at consistent times? Is it, meeting up with people? Whatever it is to help you, like we have to lay out these process goals along the way because they kind of lay that framework. And it's, similar to your wrap out a routine, on you're focusing on consistency, but like it's still the same idea is like the process goals don't get the love they deserve because there's nothing about them that is like something to celebrate, right? Like you can,
people don't consider them PRs, and they really they are personal bests.
They are,
because there's something that you have not probably done before, right? Every new season, every new cycle is new to you. Even if you've done 50 marathons, your first training cycle is new to you. Yeah, I love that one actually.
Yeah, and they don't get the love because like, some people use process checklists or those little fun little things that you can like fill in the box when you do your process things, goals, right? But outside of that, like it's just something that you feel you have to do, right? Oh, I have to go to bed early if I want to reach my goals. Well, yes, you can also celebrate it as the process goal that you're achieving, right? We talked about being a morning runner. Like if you've morphed yourself into being a morning runner, at some point, then you're just like, well, this is who I am. Okay, but that's a process goal that you made that you then fulfilled. Like, why aren't we celebrating that? Oh, well, I didn't change my goal time or didn't do, like, who cares? Like, we miss these things along the way. I always tell athletes before their race to be proud of themselves before they get to the finish line. Because A, you don't know what will happen on race day anyway. But B, aside from that, like, if you don't celebrate everything you've done and all the changes you've made, like that you've grown in that training block, then you never will. Because if you kind of set it as an outcome goal, as okay, well, I'm going to run this time, and if I do it, I'll be happy. You won't, because the second you finish the race, you'll take 15 minutes, you'll be happy, you'll make a post, you'll tell your friends, and you'll be like, you know what, next marathon, I can run 5 minutes faster. And so you're immediately not happy with the goal, and you have a new goal. So outcome goals are like, they're fleeting. They're gone. The second we achieve it, we want more. And that's okay to do that. But that's why outcome goals can't be the goals that like drive these habits and drive you forward. The process goals, everything that got you there. So like every month, like taking a moment to be like, hey, look at all what I did this month, the little things that got me to the bigger goal this month. I ran 100 miles. Well, what are all little things that you did so you could run 100 miles? Are you celebrating those? Or are you just celebrating 100 miles or 20 runs or 5 hours in the gym?
Right. Yeah. One of the process goals that I've shared in previous years is like I like to share, like, I got a PR in fueling.
Yeah.
Which is a success for, to take care of your body is a success, and to not go from not fueling your long runs, not fueling your runs, going into your workouts fasted, feeling depleted. So then that's a win. Those are huge wins. So I like that one. And so I have one more proven way that I teased earlier, and it's to be flexible. There's always a plan B. We talked about in the beginning having a framework, but there's got to be flexibility within the framework. Every day, if you're committing to Monday, Wednesday, Friday that you're going out for your run, every day has to have an asterisk, because life be lifing, right? This is not, I know that we're going to have some pretty important athletes on this podcast, but this is not the majority of your full-time jobs. And even if it was, injury, sickness, life comes up for the pros too. And the ability to pivot is a proven way to stay in the game. There's no other way. How you respond to a moment when you are waking up and seeing 2:30 a.m. because your kid is screaming I have a stomach ache, and you have a long run that morning, you think that your kid cares? You think that your kid cares that you have 11 miles on the calendar tomorrow? No, your kid is ill. Your kid is caring about, I need my dad, I need my mom, right? You got to take care of that. And you got to be flexible with yourself. So, is it best for you to operate on 90 minutes of sleep and go out for your long run? No, that's not. Who is that enjoyable for? Who wins when you're roasted,
The
right?
treadmill.
The
Yeah.
treadmill would win. The
Yeah.
treadmill would win every time. So, how can you pivot? Okay, you can skip that run completely. You can say, you know what, today's a wash and I can do it on Sunday. You can, if you have the support to go back to bed, maybe you can't do 11 miles that day, but maybe once you've had enough sleep and you've had something to eat, you could put in a solid 4 miles and be happy with it, right? Always things you can do, but to be so married to the plan is get ready, buckle up. You're filing for divorce, okay? You can't, this all or nothing mindset, be really comfortable living in the gray in order to have a habit that sticks for the rest of your life past January.
Yeah, you gotta live in the gray. The all or nothing. Those spaces are difficult, and I think people struggle with the gray. Is that, oh well, should I still do my run? Like my kid was only so sick, or only got 4 hours sleep instead of 6. Should I still, like, that's where people always struggle, and like I think they're always looking for validation from, they're not looking for, but like coaches can help with validation. Like I'm always very supportive if an athlete comes to me and they're like, oh, this is what happened last night, should I do my run? Like I already know they're looking for me to say, you don't have to do it. Like not you don't have to do it. Like we can skip it, we can move it around, I can make this work and add it to next week, I can do that. Because like they took a lot for an athlete to come to their coach and to say that. And so the worst thing I could do is be like, no, you have to just run it. If you don't, you'll miss every goal and your whole entire career is ruined and everything stinks. Like that that's how they're already feeling. So why, like, me saying that is just adding to it, right? And so it's being flexible. If you're supporting runners, like help them be flexible. Your friends are always going to come to you and they're going to be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this run today, my kid was throwing up all night, like, but I feel bad missing the group run with you. You can be a winner by saying, yeah, that does sound like it sucks, go get some sleep, like your run's not going to ruin your life, go back, instead of being like, oh well, I need my company. Being flexible is something we all can work on, but also as support elements, coaches, friends, running friends, like we can also help our athletes or others be flexible too, because it's hard for people to ask for help. It's hard for people to ask, can I move something around? And when they do it, no, it's like probably the most difficult thing they've ever done.
Yes. If you can't give yourself grace, make sure that you have a community around you to show you kindness. And then take a moment to reflect. How would you advise a friend? Yeah, you didn't get a lot of sleep last night? Get outside. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're sick? Too bad. Better go to Pilates. Infect everyone else.
Cough all over the reformer.
You know what? I'm going to single-handedly reform that culture, because if you show up to my class, let me tell you, I mean, I've already told you, I look at you dead in your face. I stay 6 feet away and I look at you dead in your face and I'm like, are you sick? I'm coming over. No, you're not. No, you're not. Not up in here, Martha. Not up in here. Out.
Out the door. Get out.
Out.
Yep. I
Love
like
you.
it.
Mean it.
Go rest.
Yep.
Cool.
What's your proven way? Is this your last proven way?
Last one. And then I have a secret for you, man, that I didn't even tell you about. So my last one is sort of along those lines we were just talking about. It's like it's like we somehow planned this and we didn't. Is use external accountability. And so like you don't always do things alone. We all need people. We all need support in our lives. It's impossible to do things by ourselves. Like we will only go so far. And so commit to running with a friend once a month. Join a running group, like something like join a running, like maybe a lifting buddy, like whatever it takes. Like, I struggle with lifting. It's not my favorite thing, but every time I have a friend there, all of a sudden it becomes like my favorite thing. If I can just hang out and watch my friend lift 3 times the weight I am, or do 50 pull-ups while I do 0. Like all those little things kind of are fun for me because it's social now. I'm a big social butterfly. Those things, helping with external accountability, helps me keep my routine going. I've always been part of a team. Like I joined running in high school, ran every day. We would end school, go to practice, run with our group. It was fun. We'd talk. College, same thing. And then when I came back and moved to Maryland in 2010, I joined a running group and ran with them for about 9 years. And we would email every Sunday, where are we doing the long run? Let's go. Workouts on Tuesdays, like whatever it was. I was going to as much as I could because it was really helping me. And if it's 10 degrees outside, it's more fun to join your friends and run outside in 10 degrees than it is to go out the door by myself and do it. External accountability, friends, whatever support you have, is a great way to keep a routine going the rest of the year, finding ways to stay accountable, but also like if it's fun, like it's more fun. It's easier to keep something going if it's fun. And if that is running with someone else and talking and slowing down the pace just to have a conversation, and that's fun for you and that's going to keep your routine going, do that. That's more important than whether your time said whatever it wanted on your long run for your average pace. Like, who cares? You did the long run and you did it with someone else and you kept accountability and you kept motivation up, and that's amazing.
Yeah. And you got out. Oh, I love that. That's a good that worked with our finishing. Those are the 8 proven.
Yeah, that's a great list. I think it's good. That'll be great for you all to listen and follow along and to take some of those in to kind of keep your momentum going for the rest of this year. And Amanda, what I wanted to do for us is, while this might be new for the Running Explained audience, for the Between Two Coaches audience, we used to ask some interview questions to all our guests, but you know what we never did? We've never answered them ourselves. So I thought it might be fun, because we're going to bring these questions onto this podcast, that we answer these questions ourselves for the first time ever. Oh. So Amanda didn't know we were doing this. I snuck it up on her because everyone loves secrets. And
you've never met someone who hates secrets more.
I do this.
Secrets and surprises.
Yeah. So surprise. So Amanda, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? And I can answer first if you want to think on it for a second. I think she's boycotting the podcast.
I'm not.
Do you want me to go?
No, I have it.
All right.
It's just making me a little verklempt. By the way, verklempt means like emotional, choked up.
Yeah, I was going to Google it later.
Okay. It's a Yiddish word. Pace yourself.
I like it.
I think that it was shared with me when I wasn't a runner and I was just navigating life in a rush, and I was really not enjoying the moments, and I was moving too quickly to the next thing without sitting in the moments, the good and the bad, just allowing my nervous system to be a little less nervous.
Yeah. I love that. That is great advice. Definitely here for that. I would say for me, it was, I got it from my therapist, and it was sort of along the lines of, because I don't remember exactly, but I remember the general consensus of it. It was, be your unique self, like lean into who you are. Don't like hide parts of yourself because you're worried that others will like sort of not appreciate you. And like, I think for me, what was important about that is sort of let me finally be who I was. I spent a lot of my life as a male growing up in the 90s and 2000s and be tougher, man up, blah, blah, blah. And like, I wasn't that way. I was raised by my mom. I was a pretty sensitive kid, emotional. And so I just hid that part. So, hanging out with guys, we'd rip on each other, and I would just like, whatever. I'd be upset, but I'd be like, oh, well, we don't do that. We don't show that side of ourselves. when I finally started showing who I was, like it was finally like one of the few times I felt like, hey, this is who I am, and people accept me for who I am. And if the others don't, it's okay. But it's better than like hiding that part of me. So it was like a big kind of revelation, and took until my 30s, and I wish I would have like started much sooner.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
what's our next question that I've literally blacked out?
Yeah.
I
What's one thing people
have
are
no idea.
generally surprised to find out about you?
That I'm an introvert.
Yeah, it's probably a good one. I feel that. I feel like you're like, I feel like, but I feel like people don't understand what introvert really means sometimes. And
Yeah,
they're
I don't
like,
think they do.
oh, it means you never talk to people. It's like, no, when you're around, like, it's just your energy comes back in a way when you're not around people. Like some extroverts really like are in a party and they're like getting more energy because they're around people. And like, I don't feel it either, but I don't mind being around the right people hanging out. But then I need to get out of there and go recharge alone in a corner hiding.
Yeah, I can, and I think that's, I have no issue. I spend a lot of time with people, a lot of time with people, a lot of time talking to people who hire me and who don't. I'm very blessed. There will be I take at least one solo trip a year. You put, listen, when I was, I don't remember, when was I last? Buenos Aires? I didn't speak to, it was like 6 days went by. My mom's like, "You good, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm just recharging here
Yeah.
in the bottom of the globe, getting ready to interact with society again." Yeah, so I think people don't understand though. It doesn't mean that you are a hermit. It just means that you require something different in order to be your best self.
Yeah.
What is one thing that people are surprised to find out about you?
I always feel like maybe I feel like they're surprised, but like that I'm a giant like closet nerd. Like maybe that's not surprising. Maybe people would kind of,
I Who is surprised?
oh, all right. Well, maybe people
Did
aren't.
you just want to share? Maybe you just want to share a fun fact. Is that
No,
it?
no, it wasn't it. That was like the thing I thought like the people, I don't know, people seem to be surprised when I start diving into stuff about like nerd culture, but maybe that's not. Okay. So I'll have to think of another one because Amanda's
Okay.
calling me out, but we'll move on. And
There's another episode.
yeah. Last one, Amanda. What's something you wish people understood about the running industry?
That anyone who wants to run can run, and that running is not for anyone who doesn't want to run.
Yeah.
That is when somebody tells me, when they meet me and they know that running is a part of who I am, not just professionally, but personally, they, I feel as though some people genuinely do not like to run. And in different seasons of their life, they've tried and they don't like it. And that's okay. You don't have to run. Running is not something that you have to do. If you want to run, run. There's so many other ways to improve your cardiovascular health. You can do Zumba, you can swim, you can box. I will say that strength training is a non-negotiable. That's an insurance policy. So sorry, not sorry. But anyone who wants to run can run.
I think that's great. We see a lot of gatekeeping only
Mm-hmm.
recently and always by the same type of people. And I
Yeah,
won't call them out specifically here, but
I
you'll hear them
will.
over.
Just you'll have to go to my page though.
Yeah, they're gatekeeping the sport, and it's
You don't like
terrible.
that.
And yeah, I think I would like to say is like, you know, I think enjoy the process, like be patient is something I wish more people would be. People are
Mm.
constantly looking for instant gratification because it's our culture, and other sports can sort of give that a little quicker, and running isn't always that way. And I think people create an unhealthy relationship with running in many different ways by not being patient, versus other sports. And so I think it's just, like Amanda said, enjoy it. Running, make sure you like it. But at the end of the day, like be patient with it. Give yourself time. Everyone reaches. The one thing about running is if you put in the work, you will see results. And so it just might be a different timeline than what you want. it's definitely going to be a different timeline than your best friend, than that random person you follow on social media, than anything else. But your timeline is your unique timeline, and you will reach your way as long as you put in the work, enjoy it, and keep showing up. So yeah, those are our interview questions we will be sending to guests this year. And me and Amanda never answered them. And so I thought, what better surprise with a person who loves surprises than to do
silly.
To do it on this first episode with Amanda. So thanks, Amanda, for entertaining that.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. Well, everyone, we hope you enjoyed this episode, the first of season 6. Make sure to rate and review this episode wherever you listen. We're on Apple and Spotify, and you can watch us over on YouTube. We love that. If you've rated and subscribed on one platform, why don't you head on over to the other one and do us a solid and watch and listen on there too. You can reach out to us, Coach Nick and I, via our Instagram at any time or on the Running Explained Instagram page. And we will see you all next time.
Bye.